Recently, Kendall Jenner revealed she has been suffering from a mystery illness on an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Let's have a look.
You have a week in Paris, Milan, and then London.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that.
Well, you're already booked to do that, honey.
I can't travel that much.
Well,
I'm like scared. I'm freaking out because of these paralysis things. I'm scared to fall asleep because it keeps happening to me. It almost feels like my heart stops.
okay. The nature of what you do for a living and your career is flying around the world. You have designers that have already booked you and are counting on you to show up.
I'm just telling you, I think that my health is a bigger deal.
Kendall basically lives on an airplane. So the anxiety on an airplane and the sleep paralysis is a huge problem. Sometimes it's been so bad that she's been paralyzed from even getting on an airplane.
Let's get off the bus.
Kendall, don't cry.
To help us get to the bottom of sleep paralysis and what it is our good friend and board-certified sleep and lung doctor, Dr. Raj Dasgupta.
Welcome.
So, sleep paralysis, it's a real deal.
Yes, it is. And actually, you know, when we talk about sleep paralysis, can we go back to a little basic science? When we talk about sleep, there's two broad stages, non-REM and REM. But you know what makes REM sleep a little different? We actually lose muscle tone. And you want to do that because when we talk about sleep paralysis, it's kind of bookshelf between two disorders. On one, sleep paralysis, there's a disconnect with the brain and the body. You're awake, but you can't move. It's scary. But on the other side, there are disorders where you're sleeping, but you know what? You could actually move your limbs. So you reenact your dreams. So when we talk about sleep paralysis, it's more common than you think.
Is it almost the opposite of sleepwalking?
Yeah, well,
in some ways?
Yeah.
Meaning you're awake, but you can't move?
Well, I'll say this much, is that, you know, sleepwalking, it happens in non-REM, but it's going to be the opposite of that movement disorder. So it protects you. You want to be paralyzed during sleep. So what causes it? That's always going to be the big question. So sleep paralysis is when you have multiple arousals during the night. So things that people who have sleep apnea, and I want to mention narcolepsy, it can be a part of it. Then it's people who actually will have sleep deprivation. Why? When you're sleep deprived, you get more REM sleep, and that's where the problem is. And the last thing,
right?
you got it. You got to rebound that REM.
Right.
And the last thing is circadian rhythm problems, things like jet lag, because our body thinks we're going to have REM at certain parts of the night. But when you're traveling to London and Milan, well, your REM sleep's going to jump all over the place.
So that does theoretically make it worse. So in that scenario,
yeah.
what can be done? What treatment's available?
Well, in general, you want to look for that underlying cause. Because you know what? I'm sure everyone had an episode of sleep paralysis. It's scary, but we've all had it. But when it's recurrent, look for underlying disorders. And in this case, when we're talking about that jet lag, maybe treating the jet lag, maybe some well-placed melatonin. But you know what I would do? There's a test called actigraphy. It rhymes with the word activity. It's like a monitor for that.
Okay.
It tells me, number one, is that patient sleep deprived? Number two, is there a circadian rhythm problem? And number three, is there inappropriate exposure to light, causing her to be aroused? So I would do that first. And then, if necessary, you know what? There actually are medications that we use in some individuals.
It sounds to me like Kendall needs to see a sleep doctor like you.
I wouldn't mind. And anyone who does have it, come on over to USC, where I'm very happy to see you.
Well, I mean, and it's important because, you know, I'm so glad you're here. There's a temptation to say, oh, it's all in your head, this, that, and the other, but sleep paralysis is a real deal thing, and with sleep specialists like you, Dr. Raj, no reason not to see the experts. Thank you, sir. Always a pleasure.